Hello everyone, welcome back to another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. My name is DFree, and in this video we're going to go ahead and talk about the top units that are free to play that should go ahead and get some sort of awakening at some point in the future, you know, things of that nature. So I hope you all enjoy. Subscribe if you haven't even new, of course, for more content here on the channel. And if you did not watch the previous one, you guys threw out a lot of crazy, not crazy in a bad way, but really good ideas as far as like ways that they could have implemented other units or brought back other units in the previous iteration of a video like this. That one will be down below, the video talking about the top units that I thought they should bring back, a lot of which were personal for me, but some of which you guys recommended down below in the description, in the comments, excuse me, that I could not agree with more. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and continue right where we left off with that. We are currently on the list of free-to-play units. This list will be down below in the description as well. It offers varying different things, and honorable mention is like these units right here. Some people really want these units to come back so they can awaken. They never did come back that second time to awaken over on Global. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about it. So some of which, the first few I'm just going to tell you right now, are incredibly obvious. You can see my list. I don't really care about that. It's not in any particular order. But this guy. It was weird. They didn't bother awakening him, but I felt like they had the perfect opportunity. I really don't have much else to say about him, but it's kind of like, oh, you know, you should have done it. They should have done it. But I hope still at some point in the future they do take the time to awaken this guy, whether it's into a Super Saiyan or not, but just make him a natural SSR at least. Being an SR makes him totally basically unusable in a lot of scenarios. Being at least an SSR makes him a solid free-to-play option, extreme or supreme damage, you know, 50 or so % plus on the passive. Wouldn't be remarkable, but it would still be workable, especially if he's not a Transcendent UR or a LR, of course. So you can't make him too crazy good, but otherwise, you know, if you're going to make him that type of rarity. But if you do make him a Transcendent UR, then maybe these bump up to 70 or 80 and reduce this restriction, because 50% or above, while it's usable, I'd like it to be like 30 or so. Anyways, moving on from this guy, we do have another Gohan. So I talked about this guy in the previous video, actually, and I just felt like, and I still do, it's such a crime for there not to be a Ultimate Gohan that is applicable to the Tournament of Power category / Universe Survival Saga category, but one that's in there that's actually like good. So like, yeah, how do you have everybody but Gohan? How do you have like 5 17s and 18s? Not really, but there's at least 3 17s, including the free-to-play options. How do you have this happen, right? So, of course, this is the only Gohan option here. I'm going to keep harking on that until they make it come true. There actually were a few other Gohan arts that are in the game for Ultimate Gohan that they did not use yet. I wonder if I can actually pull them up, because one of them actually looks really dope. I'll probably just leave it as a thumbnail, actually. But anyways, this guy needs to awaken. We need to see it sooner than later. AGL types get a boost to Ki, and then Super AGL types get a boost to HP. So, like, he really is a Super AGL leader, but really bad. But whatever. That's really cheeky way of putting his leader skill. Very bad. Anyways, moving on. He'd be another unit in the same scenario as the last one I was just talking about just a moment ago, in that he's a natural SR, so I don't know what they'd plan to do, but if they do want to make him at least a natural SSR, you know, they can allow him to go to UR level 100 and then increase the passive. Ki +3, self-sufficiency is always nice to have, but issue with this guy more so than the other one, this unit has no competition. I believe he's the only base form, you know, Gohan in the game. So ideally I would like for him to be still base, you know, future Gohan, but not be Super Saiyan, because then he would have immediate competition just because there are other options in the game. This guy faces a lot of competition as listed right here. All these other Gohans that can raise to farm his super attack can be farmed to raise his super attack if you wanted to do this way. But really what this unit was mainly for anyway. They did it kind of weird on JP, at least I think on Global it came out in the right order, but this came out after, you know, we got access to the STR Ultimate Gohan, who is the Hybrid Saiyans leader. Should have probably been the unit that's in this category, just depending on, you know, based on when he came out in the game and the stuff that they did. Like, immediately thereafter, they bring out the Tournament of Power event, make this unit acquirable. I mean, the STR one should have been, but he ultimately was not. So, moving on from that, like I said, I do think this unit deserves that, and hopefully in the future he does get it, or we get a new one, right? That applies to all these units. Hopefully, at least we get a new one. And Veku / Viku, whichever you prefer. I personally go Viku. Anyways, this is the failed fusion between Goku and Vegeta from Fusion Reborn. He has one unit in the game only, and he's acquirable from the original Gogeta stages. You know, the very first one, I believe you can farm and you can get this unit. Now, early on in the game, he was actually really solid. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. He was one of my favorite units to use. He was a very good tank if his passive did trigger. So, you look at his passive, high chance to reduce damage received by 50%. I don't know, man. It's very reminiscent of a unit like Botamo. I bet you Botamo's in here, isn't he? I bet you he's in here. Yep, there he is. They're right next to each other. How perfect. They're like the same unit, basically. And probably because they're both kind of pudgy, but they're the same unit pretty much. So that's a thing. But, you know, it's very reminiscent of a unit like Botamo in that he's able to be a tank as a SR as well. So high chance to reduce the damage received by 50%. Ooh, Botamo has a better leader skill, though, I would say. He's doing, you know, 15% for the whole team. Oof. Anyways, moving on. Kamehameha, same warrior race, tough as nails, fusion failure, which is a 3% HP recovery link between these guys only. Totally unusable link, unless you're using those. We need to get SSRs, like summonable SSRs of all these characters, especially the Gotenks. But they live on in the LR Mighty Mask unit. But yeah, I really don't have much else to say about this unit. I just would like for them to go out of the way. Like, he doesn't have to be summonable, but I think that, again, we don't need a summonable unit, but I think that we do need some sort of awakening, because I really want to see some of these units make their way into being more relevant on fusion teams, or make their way into being more relevant free-to-play options as well, because while it's a kooky option, I do think that if they were to give him some sort of attack increase, he'd be a respectable choice for a free-to-play centric fusion team, right? Assuming that you have a leader, or, you know, one of the baby leaders or whatever, you know, you'd be able to make it work, because there are a few leaders that you have options, right? Especially this one right here. He's free to play. If you want it to go that way, technically you can still run the team, so it works out. But I do want to see Viku awaken, if for no other reason, because this is amazing. Like, seriously, like, come on. Pudgy Gogeta. This guy right here, he's actually one of the better SRs, I would say, in the game, as far as, like, especially being like a free-to-play unit, link set wise and all that. So I want to see him awaken. He's from the Hero Extermination Plan event. You can go ahead and grind him, and well, you can go ahead and farm his SA and stuff like that. So anyways, moving on. Key plus 2 and HP is 80% or below. Meh. Huge damage with the Final Flash. Meh. It could at least, again, he's natural SR, so it makes sense. Otherwise, attack plus 25% when key meter is 5 or more. So this guy has a really crazy potential to see things like, you know, supreme damage. Whoops. Supreme damage, possibly, if they wanted to make him a Transcend UR, which would technically be 2 awakenings. But yeah, they can do it. Make him a TUR, or they could go ahead and increase his passive to anything above 50% and maybe take off the key restriction. But either way, he's guaranteed to get this 25% anyway if he's on a 3-key leader, right? He's guaranteed. It's only 5 or more. That's, you know, this is like this type of passive is a relic from when you had key issues. Like, there were times we were legitimately not super very often, you know, early on in the game's lifespan, because of links and because leader skills didn't offer that much key. Nowadays, you basically auto super, but it is what it is, and I would like to see this unit get the option to be awakened as well. Moving on, we have the Ginyu Goku. This one is from the Baba Shop. I actually really want this one to awaken, simply because it's another option for the team as far as the Ginyu Force team is concerned, and he's another free-to-play unit technically. So I would like him to awaken just because, probably more so than the other units, just because of the fact that I love the Ginyu Force team, and you could run this guy on that team, you know, because there's no unit on the team that's just Ginyu Goku. The LR is Ginyu Goku and Ginyu Force, I believe. We'll go ahead and pull it up right here. But yeah, there would be more option for that. So yeah, Ginyu Goku, Ginyu Force. There's no option. There's no current Ginyu Goku just alone. And that's something that they've never really capitalized on. You know, they don't really care a lot about early Dragon Ball Z stuff too much. But I would like to see this unit awaken because, again, it would be another nice option. And then, of course, if you do have both LRs on the team, you might get in a situation where you're key hungry. Now, I would need to see this changed. I don't want him changing tech orbs. I really don't want him changing many colors of orbs, you know, to a rainbow. Rainbows are cool, but I don't want him changing that too much because we need the tech orbs for the LR leader, you know, the free-to-play LR. But still, like, I want to see this unit get an option to awaken as well, just because when it comes to the Ginyu Force, there's really just nothing here. I mean, it's just the free-to-play ones, the crap summonables down here, and there you go. And the cool thing about that is that also if you needed to run, this unit's in the category anyway, by the way, if you needed to run more of a physical-centric team, say you're taking on a intelligence type event, you could drop Guldo and then put this guy on there. You could also even drop somebody like Birder, and if you have the other LR here, put this guy on, and all of a sudden, you've got, what, 3 or 4, you know, physical type options as your team as well, so you're good to go from there. So that's one of the things that I want to see happen. Make it happen, Bandai! And then Gohan here, another unit from the Hero Extermination Plan, the other one, just like the Vegeta unit was. This guy, this is my 3rd Gohan on the list, just because I'm a huge Gohan fanboy. Don't at me about it, but I do want this unit to awaken, and preferably to a Super Saiyan, actually, you know, against kind of what I was mentioning earlier. Oh, hey, we need a Dokkan form 6 days ago. Read my mind. Against what I was kind of mentioning earlier when it comes to having units that have the same name, I don't want them to have too much competition for use. But this guy's another solid option to farm the SA if you get a LR Gohan in that scenario that he becomes a Super Saiyan. And then the good news is in that you know, there is not really competition anyway, because LR Gohan Dokkan Awakens from being Super Saiyan to being Super Saiyan 2. The only other summonable Gohan that's Super Saiyan 1 Teen Gohan is the Int one, the really, really old one, I believe. And nobody really uses that unit. So, yeah, it would be fine. And this unit would probably wind up being better, you know, depending on how good his rebirth is. So, especially because that old Gohan was one of the first rebirths. So, I don't know. For me, I would want to see that for sure. And otherwise, moving on, we have this Vegeta. He's actually not too old of an... What is with this? Somebody put this together and they didn't do a great job. He's actually not that old of a, you know, rebirth, technically, because this Vegeta was the one that we started off with way back in the game. And I really like the old original, like, Dragon Ball type art style that they used for these, by the way, on a side note. But then he Dokkan Awakened to do high def Vegeta here, the super rare version here. And, you know, I would like to see him go again. You know, go again at being a UR. Medium chance of 100% up on the... What is the... Oh, my gosh. What's this one's? Oh, rare chance of 100% up. That's insane, bro. Medium chance. Big bad bosses. Saiyan Warrior Race. Over 9,000! Okay. Yeah, this guy could be really good, actually. Like, medium isn't too bad. That's like, what, a 30%, 25%, whatever it is? That's not that bad, man. That's not bad. So, you know where they screw it, though, is that he has a huge chance here. Like, if he had at least Supreme, oh my gosh, he'd be awesome. He wouldn't be crazy good, but he'd still be awesome. So I want to see him awaken, of course. And then the final one is Hachiyak, another unit from the Hero Extermination Plan. Just because this unit never... He was like the main... And those stages were really hard, like early on in the game. I'd still argue they could still be hard for people if you don't have... You know, the units to run, like, it still probably is hard, because I remember you have to use, like, a rainbow team or weird things like that. But he was the main, you know, opponent for this event. And this event just in general needs a revamp, because they run it every week. And I'm pretty sure that at this point, very few people actually play. I played it recently, I guess, when I pulled Bojack for the first time, because if you didn't know, you don't have to wait for the Bojack event to come back. But I guess on JP it doesn't matter, because it's live right now. But you can go ahead and farm the medals from there, if you didn't know. You can farm various other medals as well on the stages, but other than that, there's not really any reasons to play it. And I feel like the main boss of that special, first and foremost, Plan to Eradicate Saiyans, deserves a little bit more respect. Not really super relevant in the Dragon Ball fandom, but still deserves a little bit more respect. And a unit that was one of our first, I would say, first free-to-play SSRs that goes to UR. And unlike all the other units that I've covered so far in this video, I believe they were all natural SRs. This unit's actually in a position where he's probably still one of the only free-to-play natural SSRs. Like, there's probably like less than like 15, which is saying something actually. But, you know, he's in a really good position to get that level 120 and see a really massive increase just because of the fact that he starts off here, whereas the other ones technically would need a couple of awakenings to get to being a transcendent UR, right? But that's not so far from the case, because we've seen it with Kaba, for example. Tech Kaba, he over time went from being a natural SR. You know, he came out with just one Dokkan Awakening to Super Saiyan, and then now he has a Transcendent UR Kaba out there that's just got that built-in crit chance and stuff like that. So it's not something that won't happen and can't happen. In fact, I'll pull up that unit right now because I forgot all about him. But yeah, he over time became, this is a free-to-play unit, became what he is now. Super Saiyan 2, level 120, max rarity UR. You know, and this is how we started off. So they can do it. They will do it, you know. He starts off as an SR. So I would like to see that for all the units, but in this character's case, he has the best chance, I would say, to being a unit that they would immediately be able to make better, especially because he already had a higher ceiling anyway. All types got 20% attack. I didn't really cover this a lot for the other units, but I'll just give you some predictions for this guy in particular, because he's the best one so far, pretty much. Leader skill, I would see jumping to being 50 across the board and 3 key. That's very easy, 2 or 3 key, 50 across the board. Otherwise, down below, we have extreme damage that would jump to being supreme at least. Deliver the final blow to recover 40% HP. This is what made me actually want to talk about him, because he's a sneaky, solid option, or he would be if he had attack and defense in his passive, for something like Extreme Physical Super Battle Road. Unfortunately, he doesn't, so he can't be. But basically, you recover 40% of your HP if he finishes off the opponent. You know how insane that is? Like, that's a lot of HP, man. So if they gave him like even 80% attack and defense, which would make it more likely for him to finish off the opponent, and left it at 40, maybe give him some self-sufficiency, he'd be great. He'd be great. He doesn't have key links. I mean, he has Hatred of Saiyans, which is just him and Dr. Lychee, I believe. Oh, and Baby, forgive me. All the Tuffles. So anyways, yeah, that's basically it. So hopefully that happens, you know, in the future. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed. Subscribe if you want to, of course, for more content. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Were there some units that I missed? Maybe, possibly. That's why I tried to give those units the honorable mention in the first place. There are some other units that have Awakened on JP, but haven't awakened yet on Global as well. But let me know your thoughts. Anyways, by the way, I haven't forgot about these guys, but Dokkan sure has forgot about these guys. I mean, look at this list of Super Strikes right here, and look at all of them getting an Awakening, except for those two. They legit forgot about those units. Legitimately forgot about them. So, I don't know. I've mentioned it before in the past, but it's like, oh, okay. Anyways, have an awesome day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.